Okay, so for the group 4, their topic is about using animals for medical research. The first panelist is Shakina, Maria, and Akila from the affirmative side. And for the opposition side, there will be Achak, Shafiq, and Yes. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I call this house to order to present their case on today's motion. This house will introduce the pros and cons of using animals for medical research. I call upon Shakina. The floor is yours.
Thank you to the speaker. A very good morning. I would like to wish to the honorable adjudicators, precise timekeeper, fellow members of the government, the members of opposition, and also members of the floor. We are gathered here today to debate on a very important motion that is using animals for medical research. And to address this motion, please allow me to start off by specifying what is the term of animal testing. So, animal testing refers to procedures performed on living animals for purposes of research into basic biology and diseases, assessing the effectiveness of new medicinal products, and testing the human health or environment safety for consumer and industry products. So, without further ado, I will elaborate more. With the rise of demands in a better healthcare system and cure for newly developed diseases, animal testing has been among the fundamental methods of testing new drugs and medicine for humans' benefit. Since the past decade, the concern of animal testing against ethics has been a hot topic to discuss. And to counter some of the irrelevant accusations and allegations regarding the abuse of animals in medical laboratory, here are the justification on how these tests are conducted without breaking any law and why this method is still very important in this age. I will start off by explaining how ethical testing on animals are conducted. So, before any human research can be carried out, non-human animal research must demonstrate the safety and effectiveness of new treatments according to the federal legislations in the United States. So, numerous drugs and therapies created for human use are now regularly employed in veterinary clinics, extending the lifespans of animals and benefiting us humans also, in addition to them. So these laboratory animals are legally and morally obligated to ensure the health and well-being of all animals in their care, in strict adherence to federal and state regulatory guidelines and human principles, and to ensure that our animals are involved only in productive and meaningful studies only. According to the animal research at Stanford, they place a strong emphasis on the moral and scientific need of treating experimental animals humanly. So, bad animal care does not make for excellent science. If animals are not well treated, the science of knowledge from their studies will not be trustworthy, and their studies cannot be replicated. Both important hallmarks of the scientific method. So I stand with my point that animals used for scientific research should not be banned if the procedures are abiding by the rules and legislations and also the guidelines provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Shakina. Now let's welcome Achak from opposition side.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ms. Moderator, and all the panelists. Okay, I agree to your point. Say that animal research is the fundamental project for the medical research, but I think that by using animal testing can be unreliable for the medical research. It is because animals are different from humans in many aspects, including their genetic makeup, physiology, and metabolism. This difference can affect how drugs and treatments behave in their bodies, and the result of animal tests may not accurately predict how a drug or treatment will work in humans or whether it will be safe or effective. No matter how many tests on animals are undertaken, someone will always be the first human to be tested on. Because, as I say, animal tests are so unreliable. They make those human trials all the more risky. Based on the National Institute of Health, it has been noted that 95% of all drugs that are shown to be safe and effective in animal tests fail in human trials because they don't work or some of them are dangerous. And of the small percentage of drugs approved for human use, half of them end up being reliable because of side effects that were not identified in tests on animals. So, for example, a drug that works in animals may not necessarily work in humans or may have different side effects. Similarly, a drug that is safe in animals may not be safe in humans or may cause unexpected toxicities. Moreover, animals used in testing are often bred to be genetically homogeneous, which means that they may not represent the genetic diversity found in humans. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Achak. Now let's welcome the second panelist from affirmative side, Maria.
Thank you, but in my opinion, the statement which is animals are different in many aspects from human is not acceptable. From my point of view, this method of using animals for medical research such as gene therapy is still important because many animals are almost like human beings. So, animals are able to respond to new medicine and other forms of treatment similar to humans. In other words, animals are biologically very similar to humans. For example, mice share more than 80% DNA with us. This shows that mice have many similarities to humans in terms of anatomy, physiology, and genetics that making mice genetic research particularly useful for the study of the human disease. And according to WWF, chimpanzees also share 99% of their DNA similar to humans. They have similar organs with humans such as heart, kidney, lungs, circulatory system and reactions to an illness. This means that humans develop in the same way as animals. These similarities make it possible for scientists to study the physiology of animals to glean information about how human beings grow, develop, disease, and age. So the researchers are able to look at how animals react to new medicine and also able to make comfortable prediction about how humans might react to it. So I stand with my point that animals used for scientific research should not be banned because of animals almost have similar DNA with humans.
Thank you, Maria. Now let's welcome Shafiq from the opposition side.
Thank you to the Miss Moderator. For me, although you say that the animals is almost same with humans, but I still oppose the idea of using animals for medical research purposes. This is because in certain countries, animals are not practically used for medical research or purposes. So why they can, but we can't? For evidence, according to People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, there is no single medical school in the United States that uses animals in order to train their medical students. Experience with animal dissection or experimentation on live animals is not required or expected of those applying to medical schools. Medical students are trained with a combination of sophisticated human patient simulators, interactive computer programs, safe human-based teaching, as well as clinical experiences. As we can see today, one can even become a board-certified surgeon without harming animals. Some medical professional organizations, like the American Board of Anesthesiologists, even require physicians to complete simulation training, not animal laboratories, in order to become board certified. The usage of animals for medical research has also been strongly against in the United Kingdom. They even have a law for medical, including veterinary students, to not practice surgery on animals without strong reasons unless the animal is truly required to be used for that certain medical research. So again, I strongly oppose that using animals for medical research purposes is not a good idea. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shafiq, for point out. Let's welcome Atila from affirmative side.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Thank you, speakers. In my opinion, animals it should not be banned. We should not ban the uses of animal in medical research because animals often make better research subject than human being because of their shorter lifespan. Even though, as the speaker too said before, many animals are just like humans, but their life cycles are way shorter than humans' lifespan. For instance, laboratory mice live for only 2 to 3 years. So, because of this, researchers can study the effects of treatments or genetic manipulation over a whole lifespan. Means that for the whole life cycle for that mice, or across several generations within just a short period of time. So, it would be inconvenient to use humans as the subject since, as we know, humans' lifespan is about 50 to 60 years on average. So, if we use human as the research subject, it will take a long time to get the result, to get the test result. Hence, mice and rats, for instance, are particularly well suited to long-term cancer research, partly because of their short lifespan. As the panel two said before, veterinarians should not use animals as their medical research object because for me, in my opinion, animal researchers treat animal humanly, even though they lastly will use the animal for the test or for the research, but before they're going to conduct the test, the animals will be treated humanly, both for the animal's sake and to ensure reliable test result. Actually, most people who work with research animals love those animals. They indeed want to give them the best life possible. So, I still stand with my point that animal use for scientific research should not be banned.
Thank you, Adila. Now let's welcome Iyad from the affirmative side.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. So first of all, I want to thank you to the speakers and to to the panelists, also the lecturers today. So, first of all, I want to say that now, actually, we are aware that the globe is now living in a modern period of fast technological advancement and production. So, why are we still stuck with the traditional medical research method? Do we want to stay at our current level without making any changes? If this is the case, the term global citizenship is actually meaningless, and this shows that the individual that still use animal for medical research, it still has an old-fashioned mindset and doesn't want to take advantage of what is available around him. So as the third speaker said just now, she has said that animals is actually better subjects than human beings. So have you made a further research that actually we have technology that using human cells that will come a better result from the animals research? Then the third speakers also said that animal life cycles is shorter within a short period of time. So do you want to take the result from the animals and apply it to the human? So it is will be not actually 100% valid because the research is from animals and not from the human. So the technology can be used in medical research such as stem cells. So what is actually a stem cells? Stem cells is actually come from our body, which is we know that our body consists of several organs such as the brain, the liver, the heart, and each organ has a specific tissues, and these tissues are made of specific cells. So after the fertilization, the embryo that consists of cells that do not have these specific functions will be undifferentiated, and the cells will be called as stem cells. So why actually we use stem cells that actually better than the animal research? It is because there are two major reasons, which is the stem cells can use as a therapy for injuries and diseases. They can be isolated from the human body. So for example, we can inject the neurons in a stroke patient, such as cardiac cells in a patient suffering from myocardial infarction, or even skin cells in patients with serious or chronic ones. So the second major thing is we can use stem cells as a model to study diseases. So as for that, I stand with my opinion that we actually should ban the medical research from animals because it is not 100% valid than the human cells research.
Sorry, but let me interpret you. As you said that it might not be 100%, the result might not be 100% valid, but I believe that scientists that do the experiment on the animals typically use animals for testing purpose because they are considered animals similar to human. As such, researchers do recognize the limitation and differences between the human and animals, but the testing is done on animals because they are thought to be the closest match and best one with regards to applying this data to humans. That's all.
So to answer the statement, I have stated in my introduction that do we want to still start with the traditional method and old-fashioned mindset? So I have introduced to you about the use of the new technology. So you state that the animal medical research is considered as almost the same as human. So I said that the stem cells is actually 100% valid. So why do you want to still start at the old method and don't want to take the new era of technology and we apply it in our lab?
Thank you, Iyad, for the point out. That's the end for our forum. Thank you for the wonderful conference. So let me conclude the forum. Finally, I'm sure that everyone gains some benefits from the forum. We have come to the end of our forum where the panelists have shared a lot of knowledge. At the end of the presentation, let's applause and shout out for the excellent performance by the panelists. Okay, thank you. Thank you for attending Eric's presentation, and thank you, Janet, for the recording. I would like to thank all of you for participating in the forum. Thank you for your cooperation. Madam Adila, do you have a question or advice for us? Okay, thank you, Madam.